Diamo il benvenuto a Udo Urbantshitsch Vice President Technology Sales di Red Hat.
Buongiorno. This is as far as my Italian goes today. I'm sorry for that. So there are two observations before I start. First, when Rudi entered the stage, I just checked my schedule if I'm at a box ring or at the Red Hat Summit Connect. Maybe it's the same. And the second thing, I am the only one that speaks English now here in a flow of beautiful Italian language. I'm really sorry about that. But bear with me, I just have a couple of slides. So first of all, thank you for coming. This is truly important to us. And I think we have a lot of things that are also important to you. So as of today, many of global enterprises and leaders try to embrace the new era, the new AI era we heard Rudi talking about. Basically, many leaders asking themselves, how do we transition from the cloud era to basically the AI era? How do we make sure we preserve what is at table stakes and also embrace what is in the future? And this is all about what we want to talk about today. So I want to invite you to join us to learn together how Red Hat helps cutting-edge companies to actually navigate that challenge, to understand how we basically position agility, how we embrace the change, and how we are freeing up resources to work on innovation. So this is all about how do we build a unified AI and application platform. And some of my great colleagues will join me on stage in a couple of minutes. I just want to make the introduction for us and help us setting us up on the stage. So let us level set here for a second. Basically, what we see is that business is driven by major technology waves. We can all witness them, we saw some of them, we may have seen many of them. What is at table stakes at the moment is that AI is the next big wave that we are seeing coming. Some might ask we're already there, others say we are going there. But the generative AI era is something that is unprecedented growth. As of today, more than 1.8 people worldwide use generative AI on a daily basis. And more than 60% of our global adult population already use generative AI. So the wave is huge. This is something we cannot neglect. Yet, it hasn't yet fully unfolded into the business area. So we might ask, how do we navigate the transition, basically, from the cloud era to the AI era? And one thing we learned is that most of the time the transition is not really getting rid of the old one. It is more like coexistence. It is like, how do we take one and optimize it to work for the next stage? So maybe the question could also be, what have we learned from the cloud era, and is it useful to us also in the new space we are all seeing at the moment? So let me highlight 4 areas we have seen from the cloud era we believe that are truly important and a pinnacle basically on what is important. So first, let me start with the location. We have seen that in the cloud era, location is key to be agile and to be flexible. We have seen the upcoming of one big public cloud provider in the beginning. Today we are talking about many, many viable, great public cloud providers here at table stakes. And of course, not even talking about still 60 to 70 to 80% of the workloads still being on-premise. And the upcoming advent of sovereign cloud is just the beginning. The second one is consistency. We have learned that to be secure, to be flexible, to be agile, to be modern, we need to have consistency in place. So things like automation and operational resiliency is key and a core foundation to whatever we are doing, because this is what the whole IT industry has already been asked to do. The third one is innovation, the ability to keep innovation alive. So there are maybe more than 200 public cloud services available, and there are more than 200 open source projects available, thousands of open source projects available to choose from. So basically, how do we manage this innovation package? But last but not least, it is all about collaboration. So I think the more we modernize, the more we go into the next era, the more we are all asked to even more collaborate. We might have called it DevOps or GitOps or maybe platform engineering. Doesn't really matter. It is about up-leveling what is already good in the sense of collaboration. So this is how we see it. This is the open hybrid cloud. Maybe you have seen the slide already a couple of times, now in a new fashion. We strongly believe that we have built the open hybrid cloud to exactly help on those pillars. So we want to make sure that wherever you want to go, the location is for you to choose in a consistent way to drive innovation, and last but not least, having a great foundation for true collaboration and for unlocking the potential. So the core platforms of Red Hat Enterprise Linux, Ansible Automation Platform, OpenShift, Red Hat AI, our application services portfolio, all of those elements are meticulously built together to unlock those 4 pillars. And as of today, we see that this is a trusted and worldwide used platform for the most critical applications. These platforms are being used to run healthcare, financial industries, transportation, flight routing systems, mobile phone operators, endlessly. So this is basically something that makes us very, very happy and very, very proud, but at the same time gives us the opportunity to do even more. And of course, don't only take our words for granted. There's a lot of analysts that would say there's a tremendous 3-year ROI whenever one of those platforms are being used, even in isolation. So there is a lot of material available from companies like IDC, Gartner, and others that show us give us a tremendous support and a positive tailwind. And also, as Rudi already mentioned as well, we could not do without partners. So we need to build success together. So our ecosystem is not only the pinnacle and core focus element of what we're doing, also on the cloud provider side, we want to make sure we jointly co-engineer that consistency and security is always a given. And when I talk about security, that's maybe one of my hard topics as well at the moment. We cannot not talk about digital sovereignty. So digital sovereignty has become a global imperative. Every single customer meeting I have, this topic is basically at the table. Not from my end, from the customer's angle. So basically the question is always around, how do I regain control? How do I make sure my data is secure? How do I make sure I understand who is accessing my data? How can I optimize my resiliency? How can I optimize my operational efficiency? And actually, according to also some studies we did, it's not only the customers I'm talking to, it is more than 80% of customers that have been asked. This is a key question that basically is being asked every single day. And to be fair, this is not a new concept. It is not like January 2025, we all woke up and said, oh, now I need to gain control over my data. It is something that existed for many, many years, maybe even decades. Autonomy, resiliency, sovereignty is something that is at the core and heart of what globally countries and regions are doing. So it's not new. It is now like unprecedented in how important it is given all the circumstances we live in today. And actually, if we look at it from an EU Commission's framework perspective, we can see that many of the things are basically interconnected. So the cloud sovereignty topic is really about regaining control of the data, making sure you are under control of where the data is stored and who is accessing it, also making sure you don't have a hard vendor lock-in into proprietary systems, by also making sure there is a reduced dependency on vendors. And that is something where I strongly believe this is where open source really thrives. So we basically tried to do this for almost 3 decades. So maybe 30 years ago, the industry laughed at us and said, whatever is open source, it doesn't have any future. Now it's core and pinnacle when globally we talk about digital sovereignty. So in an unprecedented rate of pace, we see that open source is the #1 topic when it comes to digital sovereignty because it promises a lot of the things we're asking for. So let's face it, if you are a very valued customer of us and you decide not to renew with us because we didn't do a good job, something went wrong with the way we're handling things, the software is yours to keep. The license is something you can use ongoing. So we challenging ourselves every single day to be the right vendor of choice for you, but you have the freedom to do it. That would not be possible without a true open source development model. And talking about that, that is something we have truly in our heart as well. So our commitment to upstream development is renewed every single day. Whatever we do, we want to make sure we start in the open source communities and derive products out of it. Because at the end of the day, this keeps the sovereignty promise a strong and authentic promise. This is true, and I just want to be very outspoken about this. So with this legacy in mind, with this core understanding of how Red Hat is developing and operating in a very authentic way, I have the enormous pleasure to also announce something very, very new. It is very new because we just released it, I think, last week, if I'm not totally wrong. Just looking here at marketing, thank you. So basically, what we announced last week was confirmed sovereign support. It is something, normally this is where the standing ovations are starting, but thank you. Thank you so much. This feels really good. So actually, it is a premium support, as we say here, right at home. What does it mean? We basically want to ensure that for the EU 27, there is a confirmed sovereign support, which means people within the EU have access to your data, and only those people. They're trained specialists, they're security cleared. We want to make sure that the data, all the support and operational data, is also stored within the EU 27. So this is a unique opportunity to not only trust Red Hat already, and thank you so much for that, for decades on what we do at the development side. Now we have the unique opportunity to also extend that basically with this sovereign, as I call it, on-soil support. And to be fair, this is nothing new for us. I want to be very clear. We didn't just invent that. We're already doing that across the globe for specific industries for many, many years. We just now finally made the step and also make it available for the EU. So that is something really to watch out for. I strongly believe it even hardens our commitment to a local presence, to local engineering, to a local sovereign side. So now you might ask, okay, is there still more opportunity to optimize the cloud? And honestly, I told you, I already bored you a lot with English, and I think it's not me to answer that question. I would love to actually welcome somebody else or a team of people on stage that lead us to answering that question. With that, please, with a big round of applause, welcome Andrea on stage.